You know that moment when you peek at your bank account and it's like a ghost town? Yep, we've all been there. Seriously, it's like tumbleweeds are rolling through my savings and my checking account is just echoing with the sound of its own emptiness. In today's video, let's dive into a real struggle we all know too well, creating a budget that's not just fancy numbers on paper, but one that really fits our daily lives. Alright, let's start with the basics and slowly build up to creating a budget that's both doable and long-lasting. Ready to transform those numbers into a plan that sticks around longer than your morning coffee? So, you've got a handle on the basics of budgeting, but what exactly is a budget? Isn't it just a fancy way of saying, plan your spending? Well, at its core, a budget is a tool that plans for and tracks both income and expenses over a set period. This might sound simple, but it's a powerful strategy that's not just for big businesses and governments. In fact, a well-crafted budget is a game changer for anyone looking to get a grip on their personal finances. Now, when it comes to budgeting, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. There are various budget systems and methods out there, each with its unique advantages. Whether it's the envelope system, where you allocate cash to different spending categories, or a digital app that tracks every dime you spend, finding the right method can make all the difference. The key is to choose a system that resonates with your lifestyle and financial goals. So, are you ready to take that first step towards financial freedom and see how a budget can work for you? Let's continue. Alright, now that we've covered what a budget is, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually start one. Tired of the month-end money crunch? Let's break it down and see how a simple budget can turn things around for you. To start a budget, you need to figure out your monthly income. This means adding up all the money you expect to receive from various sources, your salary, any side hustles, dividends, you name it. It's crucial to get a clear picture of what you're working with. Don't forget to include those occasional sources of income too, like a bonus or a tax refund. It might seem like a bit of extra work now, but knowing exactly what you're earning each month is the foundation of a solid budget. Once you have that total, you're ready for the next step. Trust me, it's worth the effort to get this part right. Next up, let's talk about monthly expenses. This is where you categorize and tally up everything you expect to spend money on each month. We're talking rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, and even those little coffee runs. They all add up. The key here is honesty and accuracy. You can't make a realistic budget if you're not realistic about your spending. Don't forget to include occasional expenses too, like car maintenance or annual subscriptions. It's these unexpected or irregular costs that often trip us up. And remember, tracking your spending for a month or two can be a real eye-opener, helping you see patterns and areas where you might be overspending without realizing it. Finally, it's time for some simple math. Subtract your total expenses from your total income. This step reveals the magic number, how much money you have left over. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you've got a surplus, you're in a great spot to start thinking about savings or investments. But if you're coming up short, don't worry. It's a wake-up call to adjust your spending. Either way, this number is your starting point for making smart financial decisions. Now, isn't it empowering to see where your money is actually going? Your goal here should be to use this information to make informed decisions about your spending. Now that you've created your budget, the real challenge begins, sticking to it. But fear not, because mastering the art of budgeting isn't just about crunching numbers. It's about adopting practical strategies that keep you on track. So, how can you make sure your budget really works for you? Let's break it down. You've set your limits for groceries, dining out, entertainment, the whole shebang. But now comes the real challenge, actually sticking to it. What's the secret sauce? It's all about consistency and discipline. One of the most powerful tools in your budgeting arsenal is tracking your expenses regularly. Think of it as being your own personal financial detective. Every coffee, every snack, every little purchase, they all leave clues about your spending habits. And by tracking them diligently, you're shining a light on where your money is really going. Now, I get it. Tracking every single penny might sound tedious or even downright boring, but trust me, it's worth it. Not only does it help you spot areas where you might be overspending, but it also gives you a sense of control over your finances. Plus, it's kind of empowering to know exactly where your hard-earned cash is going. Now, I want you to grab your favorite budgeting app, whip out that notebook, or whatever works for you, and start tracking. Your wallet will thank you later. We've all been there, standing at the checkout counter, eyeing that shiny new gadget or delicious treat, feeling the urge to splurge. It's like a siren song calling out to our wallets, tempting us to give in. But here's the thing, when you pay with cash, it's a whole different ballgame. Imagine actually taking cash out of your wallet and giving it away. When you feel those bills leaving your hand, it really hits you how much money's worth. Makes you pause for a second, doesn't it? Especially when you're about to buy something on a whim. Now contrast that with swiping a card. It's quick, it's easy, and it almost feels like you're not really spending at all. You don't see the money leaving your hands, so it's easier to ignore the reality of your spending habits. But when you use cash, you feel every dollar leaving your possession. It forces you to pause and ask yourself, is this really worth it? It adds a layer of mindfulness to your spending, helping you curb those impulsive urges and stay true to your budget. Next time the urge to splurge hits, why not go old school and pay with cash? It's a win-win. Your budget stays on track, and you get that awesome feeling of being the boss of your money. All right, let's break this down further. Think of your budget as a roadmap for your financial journey. Just like you wouldn't embark on a road trip without checking your map or GPS along the way, you shouldn't navigate your finances without regularly checking in on your budget. These check-ins are like pit stops, where you take a moment to assess how you're doing and make any necessary adjustments to stay on course. You've set a budget for groceries, dining out, and entertainment for the month. As the weeks go by, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life and lose track of your spending. But by scheduling regular budget check-ins, you're essentially hitting the pause button on your busy schedule to evaluate your financial progress. During these check-ins, you'll want to review your spending from the past week or so and compare it to what you had budgeted. By catching those variances soon, you're setting yourself up to tweak things before they throw off your financial plans. It's really about being ahead of the game and maintaining your financial wellness step by step. How often are you checking in on your budget? As we all know, life is unpredictable, and your financial circumstances can change in the blink of an eye. Maybe you got a raise at work, or perhaps unexpected expenses cropped up. By conducting a monthly budget review, you're essentially hitting the refresh button on your financial plan, ensuring it remains relevant and effective in light of any new developments. Reviewing your budget each month helps you catch problems early. For example, if you see that you're spending too much in certain areas, you can make changes before it becomes a big issue. You might decide to spend less on things you don't need or move money to cover important expenses. It's all about taking charge of your finances and making sure you're in control of where your money goes. Managing money can feel tough, especially when things get tight. But here's the deal. Taking charge of your budget puts you back in control. Instead of feeling like your finances are running the show, you get to call the shots. By checking in on your budget every month, you're basically saying, hey, I've got this. It's like being the captain of your own financial ship, charting a course toward your goals. When it comes to sticking to your budget, staying motivated is key. Sure, making a budget is one thing, but sticking to it day in and day out is a whole different story. Sometimes it can feel like you're all alone in this financial journey, especially when you're faced with tough spending decisions. But guess what? You don't have to do it solo. Enter the accountability partner, your personal cheerleader and financial buddy, all wrapped into one. This could be your best friend, your mum, or even a financial advisor. The important thing is finding someone you trust, who gets your financial goals and who isn't afraid to give you a little push in the right direction when temptation comes knocking. Having that support system can make a world of difference in sticking to your budget. Thinking about joining forces with a budget buddy? This might be the perfect move to straighten out your financial journey. All right, let's sum this up in a simple way. Staying within your budget is more than just doing the math. It's about being clever with your money, Keep an eye on what you spend, use cash to avoid overspending. Check your budget every week and tweak it each month if needed. It's a good idea to have a friend to help you stay focused. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content like this. Hit the like button if you found this video helpful and turn on notifications to stay updated. Remember, mastering budgeting isn't just about knowing the basics, it's about putting them into action. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.